So the year is 1994. Primus has just released Pork Soda the year before, and it was very successful, debuting in the top 10 at number 7 on the Billboard Top 200. And they go back to the studio to record their follow-up to that, Tales from the Punchbowl, in 1994, which would eventually be released June 6, 1995. Now, Pork Soda had debuted in the top 10 on the Billboard Top 200 at number 7, and Tales from the Punchbowl had similar sales, debuting at number 8 in the top 200. And for a band like Primus to achieve something like this is a pretty big deal. This album was a little more prog rock than their stuff before that. A little more jammy. There's some more jams, like extended jams on this album than they previously had. I mean, they had Hamburger Train on Pork Soda, but that's about it. And it was also the last album with Tim Alexander, the drummer, before he would take off after the Tales from the Punchbowl tour because he was tired of touring. That's actually when I first saw them for the first time, was on this tour, and I was with Tim Alexander. Yeah. So this album was released. It's the second most commercially successful album they've had after Pork Soda. And so let's get to the songs. The first song, Professor Nutbutter's House of Treats. I love this song. I've actually used the name Professor Nutbutter in my email, the only email I've ever had, for the past 13 years. Yeah. So, and it's based on a jam. They went to the studio, started jamming, it turned into a song, and it's pretty much what I take from it. It's pretty much about a drug dealer, a guy named Professor Nutbutter that gives you all these different treats, and they're probably drugs. Knowing Primus and their tendency to make songs about drugs, I think it's a pretty safe bet this is about drugs. And there's lines like, "It's alright to fear the worm," which I don't really understand. It's a really heavy song. I think it's about drugs, but it's pretty ambiguous. You can take what you want from this song, but drugs, some people seem to think it's about a child molester. I don't really see Primus writing about a child molester. Not in that way, at least. So, I mean, you write about some pretty dark characters sometimes, but I think you do it in a different way than Professor Nutbutter's House of Treats. Just my opinion. But great song. It's a heavy song. It's an extended song. And it's actually the first song I ever heard them play live. First time I saw them, they opened with this, and it was great. Alright, so number 2, Mrs. Blaline. It's about a mean teacher who mistreats a student named Donnie, who ended up also being bullied by other children, and gets in a fight with a kid named Steve and ends up stabbing him by accident. Another dark Les Claypool story. I really like the song. It's one of the best on the album, and it's just really good. They say asshole in it. This is one of the few albums where there's some cussing on it by Primus. Really good song, and it's one of the shorter ones on the album, but man, it's fucking good. Okay, number 3, Wynona's Big Brown Beaver. This is the big one on the album. It's the first single from the album. It got heavy rotation on the radio. It was played quite a bit on MTV, mainly because of the video, which the weird video, which I'll get into in a minute. It was actually nominated for a Grammy for Best Hard Rock Performance, and they lost to Pearl Jam. And there's a little bit of bluegrass, southern rock feel in this song, mixed with the whole funky Primus thing. And it's about a woman named Wynona and her beaver. You can take that for any way you want. It could be literally about a beaver, because Primus is a band that would make a song literally about a beaver. And as we all know, beaver is also slang for a woman's genitalia, so could be either one. They reference baboons and Taco Bell and carnies and drugs and freaking, what did I write down? And porcupines. Yeah. So, really weird song about a beaver, or woman's genitalia, whatever you want to call it. The video featured the band in these costumes. If you remember at the time, there were these Duracell commercials with this battery-powered family, and they were really kind of creepy. And they made their costumes look like the family from these commercials, and it was a really popular video that played on MTV a lot. Now, the song wasn't without controversy. People started to think it was about Wynona Ryder, even though the song, it spells Wynona with a Y instead of an I. And yeah, so it went so far as to Dave Turner, the singer from the band Soul Asylum, you might remember. He was dating Wynona Ryder at the time. And live, when he played live one time, he renamed one of the songs. Les Claypool is a big fucking asshole. Les Claypool has reiterated many times this is not about Wynona Ryder. He actually wonders why people haven't brought up Wynonna Judd, since there's a more country feel to the song, and Wynonna Judd is spelled with a Y. But yeah, so that went on, and it was also appeared in the movie Zack and Miri Make a Porno. So this is a really big song for them, and one that they would grow to hold resentment towards. They got tired of playing it, and they got tired for being known as the Wynona's Big Brown Beaver Band and the South Park Band. Because if you didn't know already, they do the theme for South Park. So it was kind of a double-edged sword with them. It was good and it was bad. I really like the song. It's one of the more popular songs. I remember seeing them play this on David Letterman, I believe. And they dressed up in penguin outfits for some reason. And it was really amusing and really funny and really cool. And that's Primus for you. Good song. Alright, number 4, Southbound Pachyderm. It's really just about, you know how birds fly south for the winter? This is really about elephants. Pachyderm means elephant. And it's a herd of elephants flying south for the winter. I've heard has to do with global warming. The lyrics have to do with global warming. It's a real prog rocky song. Probably more than anything. I don't know about anything they've ever done, but definitely anything they've ever done up to this point. There's a real cool video for this song. It's all stop motion claymation done by Les Claypool. There's kind of a cool story to it. Look it up on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Really cool video. This is a song they like to play a lot live, and there's a lot of Pink Floyd imagery in the song. You know, flying elephants, kind of similar to flying pigs. Just a great song. So, moving on. Number 5, Space Farm is really just an instrumental featuring these spacey sound effects and sound effects of farm animals making it sound like a literal space farm. And there's some pretty indistinguishable voices in the background. I don't know if those are supposed to be the farmers at this space farm, but yeah, that's all that song is really. It's kind of a little break. Number 6, Year of the Parrot. It's really a song about modern music recycling older music and the lack of originality in modern music. At the time, at least. This was 1995. So it's gotten 10 times worse by now, as we all know. And there's lines like Kate Bush and Van Morrison teaching the parrots to sing. You know, parrots, they recycle, they say what they hear. And it's kind of an analogy to bands hearing something and recycling it and not being original. That's really what the song's about. And they say the line is called plagiarism a lot in this song. It's really an indictment of, you know, non-originality in music, which very much plagues us to this day. All right, number 7, Hellbound 17 and a half, theme from. It's a theme from a non-existent horror movie series. That's really all it is. It's instrumental. It's another little break. They like to do these sometimes. There's a line. The last line is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Is that a tuna melt I smell? Come on. And That's really all I gotta say about this song. I like the song. It's strange. It's Primus, and just a quick little break before we get into the rest of the album. So number 8, Glass Sandwich. It's about a man who goes into a booth, one of those booths you go to watch strippers in, I guess. Not that I've ever been in one of these. But he goes in there and he realizes that the stripper is his ex-girlfriend. He uses a stand-up bass in the song, which I always enjoy a lot. And, you know, it's kind of about life in general. And he says in the song, it's the nature of things. This is what life is. Surprises and things that are good and not so good. So that's that song. Alright, number 9, Del Davis, Tree Farm. I don't have a whole lot to say about the song. It's probably my least favorite song on the album. Not that it's bad, but this is one I'll skip over sometimes. It's about a guy named Del Davis who has a Christmas tree farm. That's really all it is. The title says it all. Del Davis Tree Farm. Okay, number 10, Deanza Jig. This is Les reminiscing about his high school days at Deanza High School. He brings up characters in this song like Jenny Hernando, who he said she lost his virginity to him. She gave him her virginity and then gave to everyone else. So a whore. And Julie Tolentino, who ended up running a dyke bar. Dyke is a bad word, I know. Lesbian bar. But he says dyke in the song. Todd Squilati, who apparently could snort a milkshake up his nose and blow it out the right side of his nose. No, he snorted up the right side, blew it out the left side. It's very interesting. I like to see someone do that. And Flouncin' Freddy, who hangs out at the Jack in the Box but eats a Taco Bell. It's a pseudo kind of bluegrass song. It has banjo in it, and really enjoyable song. I like the song a lot. It's very amusing. So check that one out. Okay, number 11, On the Tweak Again. Another song about meth and meth heads, reminiscent of them damn blue-collar tweakers from Sailing the Seas of Cheese. He sings in kind of high voice in the song. It's a weird song. I like this. I really do like the song though. Talks about sitting around the fire singing Kumbaya. I don't know what that part's supposed to be about, but your guess is as good as mine. But another good song. Number 12, Over the Electric Grapevine, is definitely one of my favorite Primus songs. In my opinion, one of the best songs they ever released. And it's about Les. What happened was Les and his friend Adam Gates dropped a bunch of acid and went on a road trip. And this is basically a song about that road trip. Mentions hearing Faith No More's Introduce Yourself on the radio. And another reference to Faith No More, who I've mentioned before. Les Claypool went to high school with Mike Borden from Faith No More. And they used to play together in high school. And it's a really good song. It's one they actually play a lot. They like to jam on it for a long time. And I love this song. I listen to this song a lot. One of the best Primus songs. Hands down, in my opinion. Okay, and finally, number 13, Captain Shiner. It's just a reprise of Deanza Jig. I mentioned before, sometimes at the end of their albums, they like to reprise something from earlier in the album. And this one's no exception. So what would I give this album? I believe I gave Fork Soda an 8. I would give this one a 7. I really like the album. Has some low moments to me, like, what was I saying? The Del Davis Tree Farm and the Space Farm Near the Parrot. Not Year of the Parrot. Space Farm and Hellbound 17.5. I could take them or leave them. Same with Captain Shiner. Those are like 3 songs that aren't really songs on the album. But I'll give it a 7 because the other songs are really great. Another really good Primus album. Check it out. And my next Primus review will be the Brown album. The first album without Tim Alexander. And it'll feature Brian Brain Mantilla on drums. So I'll see you then. Hope you enjoyed the review. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think of the album. Subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Have a great day, everybody.